So you're welcome to my healthy food place. I am Grace Enemali, your coach here, guiding you on the journey of wellness using my own life experience on how you can use natural foods to reverse a host of ailments, just as it happened in my own case, reversing things like diabetes, high blood pressure, lowering blood pressure, sugar, and naturally, including stomach ulcers. And so today, I want to talk on an important aspect of our wellness here today. And in case you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button so that you'll be notified whenever I'm here. I want to talk on managing insomnia naturally. And so welcome. Yes, Grace Enemali is my name, and I'm here to share with you some of these wellness secrets. You are welcome once again at Healthy Food Place, where we share ideas and recipes on how you can stay healthy naturally through natural foods. And in case you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly do so by hitting the subscription button so that you can follow up and be notified whenever I'm here live. And so today I want to talk on an important aspect of our wellness, which is sleep. We cannot talk too much of sleep, but what aspect of it exactly? I want to talk on managing insomnia naturally. And what does that mean, insomnia? Welcome to the house. Insomnia actually is a term that we often use to describe not being able to sleep for quite a long time. If you have not been able to sleep for a night, that may not be referred to as insomnia, but when it persists over a long time, several days or weeks, then we can call that insomnia. And it goes a long way to affect your health in a lot of ways. That's why I want to take our time again to talk about it. A lot of people are caught up in this inability to sleep. Almost all of us, even myself, as I speak to you once in a while, it does happen also. But the difference is that I often know the cause. It's important to know the cause of a disease, not just rushing out to just get a remedy for it. And so we want to quickly, before I go further, I want to quickly share with us or some of the causes that I have noticed in my own case, things that are most times responsible for insomnia in our own case. And then when you know the causes, you may also be able to, you may be able to reverse it. You may be able to reverse it. Sorry, I'm trying to back down to, I'm trying to really make sure that it's as bright as possible, but I can't really get exactly. Okay, let's take it here from here. And so some of the things that could be responsible for not being able to sleep are the things I want to share with us. And as if time permits us, we may be able to get into the foods, the top foods that has helped me over the years to manage this aspect. And there are some people that are actually at risk of this insomnia, not being able to sleep. And sometimes you could wake up at certain hours of the night. It happens to a lot of people. And so you don't really have to be too worried about it if you listen and follow this life to the end. Because it's things that I have also gone through. I mean, the extreme part of it, I have also gone through it and been managing it also naturally. And the best thing is using natural means and knowing the cause of the insomnia, because knowing the cause is very important. If you know the cause, you won't have to be worried. So what are some of the main causes of this insomnia, not being able to sleep? There are several causes, but I want to mention to us, share with us, the ones I have found out in my own case that normally cause the insomnia, not being able to sleep. One of them relates mostly to menopausal women. Most women at the menopausal stage, like when they are getting to late 40s, early 50s, mid 50s, and then 60s, they also experience this not being able to sleep because of the drop in estrogen activities and those hormonal issues and the rest of it. So most of these things put together also cause that drop in the brain. And so most of them also begin to, have issues. And I've also observed that more women have cases of insomnia because of these menopausal issues, which affects us more than the men. And so the other thing that also are responsible in my case most times is not having completeness in your meal, in my meal, or in your own meal. And what does that mean? Over time, as we get older, we are, begin to avoid a lot of foods because of cholesterol, because of our health, because of blood pressure, because of high blood sugar, because of arthritis, and several other conditions, even obesity. And so because of this, we begin to avoid so many things. By the time we begin to avoid these things, it begins over time to begin to affect the brain, because there are 20 amino acids, as we all are aware. Some of these amino acids come from the food, must come from the food we eat. Some are produced internally. And so when we begin to avoid it, most of these things, that the ones that will come from our food, like eggs, meat, milk, animal protein, is one of the major sources of these complete amino acids. And they are most times the part of our diet that we begin to avoid for health reasons and for other reasons. So by the time we begin to do it, over time, things like insomnia begins to set in. And we say, we are awake at night. I've had I've had more calls from people with insomnia than any other ailment. More cases. And that is why I choose again to talk about it, because we can't talk too much of it. The more we have, I have people who have a need for it, the more I want to go live or talk about it, because it means the cases are still there and more cases are coming up. And so the other, that's not having completeness in the food, can also begin to show up as insomnia. When you lie down, you're not able to sleep. One of such foods like milk is a brain food. Meat is a source of zinc, and zinc is one of those minerals that controls the sleep, and several other factors. And so when we are avoiding meat, eggs, milk, chicken, for instance, is one of such foods for brain that can help us to sleep. But when we are staying off all of these foods, obviously that completeness in the food may not be there. And so some of us will begin to experience insomnia. So you need to know whether you are avoiding all of these foods and whether that also may be causing your own insomnia. And sometimes also, insomnia could be caused by poor blood circulation. If you are not moving around, you're always sitting at a place, sedentary life, you could be getting on with it, getting away with it. But as you get older, Your body may no longer be able to function optimally without activating your internal organs through exercising. Moderately exercising at the right time. And so when you don't do this, the brain also may not be able to give you, supply you sleep. And so if you're in this habit, maybe your job does not require too much of moving around, and you're already experiencing insomnia, then you already have the solution. All you need to do is to incorporate exercise moderately in your lifestyle to help to deal with insomnia and improve activate your internal organs and then improve blood circulation generally. So at other times also, some people also come up with cases of insomnia as a result of high blood sugar at night. I do. People also experience insomnia when the blood sugar is high. They experience too much sleepiness. But there is another group, which I happen to belong to that group, where you wake up at night and you're not able to sleep. It took me a long time to realize that it was actually a rise in the blood sugar that was responsible. And so if you have woken up and it has lasted for 2-3 days, it may be necessary to go check your blood sugar, or even the next morning, and that's what I do. And most times you will notice that if you do not address the issue, the blood sugar continues to rise. Because when you don't sleep, your body is not able to manage sugar well. That is what I know, that's what I've gone through. Your body is not able to manage sugar properly when you don't sleep. Your insulin, the ability, everything will not be, at the best. And so if you are waking up, you may also check your blood sugar. The same thing happens for those that are susceptible to high blood pressure. You could also check it. So other thing that could also lead to insomnia is late meals. So this may sound like a light thing to a lot of us, but if you are consuming food late, consistently, at the time when the body is expected to be resting, it may also cause you to be awake when you should be sleeping. The body may be dealing with the foods you eating, trying to digest, because digestion is a huge job. Yes, it's a huge job for our body. So if you eat late or you eat too early, and any of these extremes could also cause you to have insomnia, because when we are asleep, the body is busy doing the work of repairs. And so I have noticed that sometimes when we don't have a nutrient in the food, when we ate a poor dinner, the body is, the eyes are awake. It has happened to me again and again. You don't know why it's awake. I have realized why it keeps awake is that it wants to work, but the tools are not there. It wants to do the work of the tools are not there. So when the tools like green vegetables, these are healing foods. Protein, these are food for repairs. And so when they are not there in your diet throughout the day, and then in the night, you happen to eat, one of those junk foods. You may have been getting away with it as a young person, but over the years, your body says no. And that is the time you begin to complain or come up with cases of insomnia. And that is why I suggest also that if you are going through that, you need to also check what your dinner, the content of your dinner, also can determine whether you sleep or not. If your dinner does not comprise of those healing foods, then you may also be responsible for your own case of insomnia. At times also, some people have inflammations. I've experienced all of this. Inflammations, how? There are some inflammations that are hidden. Maybe you have had a hectic day, going here and there, and when it was time to rest, so when you are going through insomnia, you may also look at your activities. Maybe there are some hidden inflammations. And so when that happens, it can also cause you to be awake. Maybe like someone like me that don't take analgesics, you may just not know that there are some pains that are hidden. That's what I mean by inflammation. So you are just lying down, you're not sleeping. You don't know why, because these are hidden. And so you could also check when that happens, what do? You can also take some teas like ginger tea. This can help to reverse ginger and turmeric. You can take, there are several non-caffeinated teas you can take to help to, calm the inflammation and then put you to sleep, especially if you have had the right meal for the day. And then another thing is, if you are engaged in too much caffeinated teas and beverages, if you are engaged in too much of the leafy teas, these leafy teas can reduce or leach out, especially the caffeinated teas, like the black tea. It may surprise you also to know that a lot of people are still not aware that the black tea is a source of caffeine that can impair, retard your ability to sleep or cause you to start keeping awake at night. Apart from coffee, a lot of people are aware of that of coffee. Even the green tea is also a culprit. And so if you are taking these teas frequently without any protein buffer, sometimes they even affect your heartbeat. I have experienced that with green tea. If you take green tea frequently, you may start experiencing irregular heartbeat. And what do you have to? You don't have to start running around because of that. Just discontinuing the green tea and taking sufficient water within 2 days, 3 days resolves it. And that's why I have often said we must always find out the cause of the disease is as important as the remedy also. And so if you are in the habit of taking caffeine, it's not only in teas. For instance, because we often talk of teas, foods like bitter cola or even the cola nut, they are all natural sources of caffeine. And so when you take it, the first time you may fall asleep because of it's rich in other nutrients that help to fight disease. But when you make it a habit, that's what caffeine does naturally. When you start taking them on a daily basis and they begin to accumulate in your bloodstream, the resultant effect over time will be this insomnia. And some people are caught up in it, unknown that it is the cause of their insomnia and other health issues. It's not just the insomnia, because the caffeine dries out the cells. It dries out the cells. It is not to say that we should stay away altogether. At least I had a cup of coffee this morning, and that's not to say that we should stay away from coffee or caffeinated teas. Once in a while, when you think you have a need of it, you go for it, because it's great for fighting depression. A lot of old adults are going through, especially in Nigeria today, are going through high-level depression. And there are only very few foods that can help you, give you that feeling of happiness. A lot of us are depressed. That is the truth. But we can go on and show off, outwardly as if all is well with us. But I tell you from my own experience that more than 50% of older adults are going through depression. Some are caused by marriage, some financial, some are due to health issues, some are due to other appointments and, things that we cannot begin to mention all of it here. But a lot of people are going through these challenges, and over time it's causing depression. And there are very few foods that can help you. Now, when you are feeling like that and like you are feeling unhappy all the time, you're feeling, very irritable, I tell you, my dear, coffee does it. You are feeling low energy, just go for a cup of coffee. You will see all the energy back. You will see all the, strength and joy and that uplifting back. But that is where the risk comes in, is if you, the next day, because of the feeling of that first day, the next day you go for it. The third day you go for it. The result you get is insomnia, not being able to sleep. And that is why I say moderation is the rule. Once a particular nutrient is naturally occurring in a food, you have to go for it whenever your body needs it. But you don't have to begin to indulge in it on a daily basis. And that's where the insomnia from caffeine comes in. And so wherever caffeine is found, you should understand that caffeine occurs in most foods naturally. And as a matter of fact, I do not even suggest that we should go for the non-calf, as I often say. I don't go for the calf. Some people say they go for coffee that is decaf. Why would you go for the calf? Do you know why Mother Nature put the caffeine there? Mother Nature knew that you and I are going through depression, and they put the there to help to uplift you. And so any food that man removes original nutrients and puts something else, that is where we say we don't have to go for such. I call them man-made. And so as long as the thing occurs naturally, you go for it. And so caffeine too much in your diet can result, if you overindulge in it, to insomnia. And if it's not properly managed, it's going to affect your overall health. The other cause of insomnia is nutrient deficiency. Sometimes we don't take sufficient protein during the day. And so this affects us in a lot of ways. You don't have to just, you could be eating anything and getting away. But I tell you, over the time as you get older, you need to be more selective, because your body needs this food to repair. It needs this as medicines to repair the dead cells, to replace the dead cells. And so when you don't provide these nutrients in form of protein, definitely what you get sometimes is insomnia. Then at other times, some people are on medication. Some medications also could cause insomnia for you. But if that is the case, you need to be patient until the period of the medication is over. Yes, some can come with side effects like not interfering with your sleep. And so if that is the case, you need also, be patient until you are through with your medication, because that also can cause it. At other times, some people also are experiencing insomnia because of simple things like hydration. As simple as hydration is, it could cause insomnia, especially in a hot weather and a hot environment. Sometimes when you have consumed certain food that requires water for digestion, at odd hours of the night, you wake up and you are just awake and you don't know why you're not sleeping. Why not go for a glass of water? Warm water, I suggest, because of those with high blood pressure. If you are at risk or you're already having elevated blood pressure, I suggest you make it warm. Go for a glass of water. It could resolve it. Water resolves a lot of things. And so when you didn't take enough, for instance, during the day, and at night you haven't taken enough, and that's why we say we must all ensure that we are part of the water therapy. That's what we do. If you're a member of our group, you must believe and follow the water therapy, because it resolves a lot of things, including this insomnia we're talking about. And so you don't have to just wake up and then you say, oh, I cannot sleep, and you start getting worried over it. That is where a lot of people are getting it wrong. And so if you wake up and you are not able to return to sleep, you begin to ask yourself questions. Wherein have I brought in the problem? Is it as a result of I ate late? Have I taken much of caffeine? Are there inflammations? Is my sugar high? Do I have poor blood circulation? Do I have excess caffeine in my blood? What are the likely causes why I'm still awake? Do I have incomplete amino acids in my diet? I know the case of a young man who was always awake, about 45, 46 years old. And he complained to me that he's always awake, he's going through a stomach ulcer, and of course that he has, I said, when last did you take egg? He said, he's not eating egg. They said egg was bad. I said, go get egg. He said he has egg at home as I speak. He went, as late as it was, he went and boiled an egg. I was suggesting it was already late. You should leave it for the next day. But he took it, and the next day he said he slept like a baby. So what we are lacking is knowledge. the food was right there in the house, but he didn't know that the cause of the insomnia was, the solution was already right in the house. Because you need someone to educate you, as I am doing. You need somebody to inform you, as I'm doing. You need somebody to also let you know that this food can do this for you. And that's why some of us, ignorantly, we leave the solution and start running for medications. And most times, the medication also creates more problems for us. At other times also, some people are awake because of excess acid in the body. Yes, too much acid in the body could also cause, when you have engaged in too much acidic foods, too much processed foods, there are also some of the reasons behind some inflammations. And so if you are engaged in too much acid and the acid level is high, my dear, you could just wake up and it's like there is an imbalance in the body. That's the way I see it. Because each time I engage, we are all caught up in it. Nobody's left out. Anytime I engage in too much of acidic foods, highly processed foods, I could just wake up in the night and I notice I haven't slept. I'm not able to go back to sleep. The reason is obvious. There is an imbalance. The acid level is higher than the alkaline level, whereas the body is set to be higher in the alkaline. But most time when the acidic is too much, we just keep awake, some of us. And over time also, some people's body react differently. Sometimes some group of people, for reasons I don't know, could just be sleeping too much as a result of this imbalance. But when there is any such imbalance, whether the acid level is too much, it can also cause you to be awake. And so you need to also ask yourself, have I consumed too much acidic foods? If the acid is too much, the body is going through an imbalance and you may not be able to have a smooth flow of sleep. What of toxic overload? Now, if you are not able to remove the waste from your colon, what I'm sharing is exactly what happens on a regular basis. If you have not been able to empty your colon, then the toxic overload will be much. It's another cause of insomnia, because we know that there is a direct link between the gut and the brain. And so in my own case, I have observed if the constipation, that is chronic constipation, you may not be able to sleep, my dear. You may just be awake. Why? Because of toxic overload. And if you have to do anything to push the toxins out, you could just go to sleep after that. It has happened to me on several occasions. And so if you are going to insomnia, find out maybe if your own case is that of toxic overload. And what do? You begin to bring food that can help you to push away the toxins. There are foods that can naturally help with removing toxins from the body. Natural foods that are high in antioxidants, vitamin C, food that are high in vitamin C, naturally occurring, like the citrus, they are high in antioxidants. And these antioxidants will help to, reduce oxidative damage, which may want to happen to our cells if we do not push out those toxins out of the body. The longer the toxins stay in the body, the more we are at risk of diseases, because they are suffocating the healthy cells. Whereas they are not supposed to be there, they're supposed to be out of the body, they are inside our body. And one of the biggest challenges that our body normally go through, from my own experience, is removing those toxins. If only we can remove the toxins, most diseases will be gone. Yes, most diseases. So sometimes when you're not able to sleep, it could be also linked to constipation. Chronic constipation could cause it, especially in older adults. And what do you do in that case? You have to deal with it and start bringing in most foods that are in form of infusion. Yes, infusion, foods that are not solid, will help to quickly get down to the colon. And then we have also foods that are good for constipation, great naturally. And all the citrus are good for this. And so we need to also begin to include them in our diet. The citrus, all the stuff. So, as I was saying, sometimes also we could also be going through insomnia because of lack of oxygen in the blood. Yes, this is often neglected, but when there is no oxygen in the blood, maybe there is low iron. Low iron can also cause this. So when there is low iron in the blood, we can also do this. I mean, remedy this by including some simple iron food, like something like sorghum tea, make it all the anti-inflammatory teas like sorghum tea, I mean the liquid sorghum tea that has no sugar and other additives. Sometimes the hibiscus flower tea is also a good one, especially for older adults because it's able to tone down your blood pressure naturally. And for the diabetics also, it has a positive effect also for diabetics. And so it's also something that can boost your iron. And there are other foods like the guava leaf tea. You can just boil some few leaves of guava. I say it can help to boost your iron in order to help the oxygen to get pumping. There are other foods that can also help to oxygenate your blood, like the beetroot. I said earlier that a lot of people who are finding it difficult to manage their blood pressure, in some cases, low oxygen in the blood could be the reason. So it's important to find out the reason. If there is lack of oxygen in the blood, some foods may not be able to resolve it until you bring in foods that can help oxygenate the blood. And I said earlier that beetroot is one of such foods. You can take it, but you must take it moderately because it's very sweet. So when the food is quite sweet, you must also be conscious of that. Be mindful of so that you don't take the excess sweetness. Once the sugary or the excess sweetness comes in, the result you get is inflammations. So you are not going to get the result you expect because of the sugar, that the excess sugar. And it is not only sugary foods, it happens with every other food that we are taking, including the carbohydrates, including the protein rich, including the fruits, and all food we take. When we take in excess, the result we get is inflammation. The body begins to show off an inflammatory response. And this inflammatory response is going to defeat the original purpose of that food. And that's why it's important to always ensure that we do not exceed the daily allowance that our body can contain. But even in case we do that, there are foods that you can use also to counter it. I've shared something about food combinations some time ago here, that there are foods that when you discover that you have gone overboard in certain foods, you can also use another food to counter the effect of the one that you had taken in excess. For instance, if you have taken food that is likely to raise your blood sugar, why don't you choose some cloves? Why don't you make a tea of cinnamon if you have issues with insulin production? You would definitely feel better. Some people think that consuming fruit has no risk, no danger. After all, it's fruits, not so, my dear. It has similar effect when you take in excess, whether it is watermelon. Of course, watermelon is the no-go area for diabetics. But if you insist, you can do that by combining it with your cinnamon, your cloves, all the other, including the guava leaf tea. You can combine it in small amount with blood sugar reducing food to help you to reverse or counter the negative effect, which is it's likely to show off if you, and so if you are going through insomnia, can ask a question about kidney. Destiny Kenny. Yes, if you want to ask about any aspect, you are free to do so. You can drop any question that you want to ask. If I'm able to answer it, I go ahead. If not, I will. So I will also let you know. So what I'm saying is that those of us who are going through the challenge of, not being able to sleep, it's not something to take lightly, because it affects your health, it affects your blood sugar, it affects your blood pressure, it affects your digestive, every aspect of you. In fact, the worst that is often hit is the brain when you are not able to sleep. In fact, you're already sick if you are going through insomnia. It's one of the worst health challenges that I can tell you that I've gone through. Don't take it for granted. And that's why you need to listen and watch to the end, because I've gone through a lot of, in fact, the worst part of the insomnia, I've gone through it. When you try to go using medication, seems you are even aggravating the issue, because the brain suffers when you bring in too much medications to be able to manage the insomnia, not being able to sleep. Your brain going to suffer the more. Your liver is going to suffer the more. Okay. Can I ask if you can take vitamin supplements like vitamin C supplement, vitamin E? No. Okay, that's the question from Destiny Kenny. Now, I want to say that I do not advise that people take other supplements, because I don't. But for vitamin C, you can take that 1000 mg, high potency vitamin C once in a while. Don't make it a regular feature in your, as a supplement. And why did I say this? Our body is a very smart, I will call it human. Our body is very smart. Now, when you develop a habit to take vitamin C, high potency, on a regular basis, for whatever, maybe you felt better the first time, or you have access to it, for whatever reason. If your body gets used to that high potency and the same amount consistently that you are doing, your immune system will be suppressed. It may not be able to operate efficiently until you bring in that your vitamin C, 1000 mg. I do take it once in a while. Maybe say in a week, or sometimes I won't take it in a whole week. But when I feel that I need a raise in my antioxidants, especially when I have been engaged in too much physical activities. So under such conditions, I feel that the body needs help. I normally take 1000 mg of high potency vitamin C to help to destroy the waste that may have been produced due to my activities, as I may put it. So, and it works. It helps to calm, because vitamin C works as a calmative. It helps to reduce the stress level in my body, and then help to calm the tension. But then I don't go ahead taking it. Maybe say, let me continue taking it. I've tried that several years ago, but the result is that you're going to spoil your immune system. You are going to destroy your immune system. Your immune system will not be able to function alone unless you bring in what it needs. That's why that is the ugly and negative side of taking medications. Yes, when your body is used to medications for high blood pressure, you will think your life depends on it. I have met people who don't want to hear anything, but they believe so much in the medication until it fails. They believe, oh, no, don't go there. My medication, I must take it too, because they're afraid. Even your immune system is afraid. It can't function. Once you take out the medication, the blood pressure goes overboard because it's used to it. And that's the ugly side of it. And it's not only the blood pressure, the blood sugar, every part of the body, our body is very smart. Whatever you give it is what it will get used to. However you train it like an animal, that's what it's going to be doing for you. If you train it not to function without supplement, like I'm doing, it's going to be fine. It's going to get used to it. It's not going to expect anything. Once in a while, I do, as I said, but it's not something I tell you that in a week I take like 4 or 5 times. No, no, no. When I know that it's really I need assistance, I do that, but not to repeatedly take it, because it's going to destroy my immune system and it's going to become an immune suppressor instead of an immune booster when you bring in supplement. Now, talking about vitamin E, you asked a question concerning the vitamin E supplement. Now, the vitamin E is another powerful antioxidant, but it works in 2 ways. Let me describe how I understand vitamin E function. Vitamin E works both on the aerial side and on the ground side. That's the way I see it. That working on the area battle, like when you are talking of a soldiers walking on the air, and there's those walking on the ground. And that's why the vitamin E is so unique and one of the most powerful antioxidants that the older adult need for a healthy heart, because it works both ways in my own understanding and how it operates. But I do not suggest that you take the vitamin E as a supplement, because I don't do that. Why did I say you should not take it as a supplement? Because it has an aspect of fat solubility. And now, any vitamin that is fat soluble, I do not recommend as a supplement that you take regularly. And the same thing that happens with fish oil. Fish oil can be taken occasionally, but because it's fat soluble, because of vitamin A and all of that, and so it can easily become toxic. Yes, that's exactly what I mean by that. So if you continue taking the vitamin E as a supplement because of that aspect of being fat soluble on one side, over time, it may also get to that point of being toxic. The only vitamin that you can take occasionally, as I do, is the vitamin C. If you have for vitamin B, which is also water soluble, vitamin B is water soluble, folic acid is water soluble, vitamin C is water soluble, but vitamin E is not water soluble totally. It's on one side of being fat soluble, so you cannot make it effectively as a supplement. And I have seen someone who was taking vitamin E supplement several years ago, and she came to me, and when we did a test, the test showed that she had need of vitamin E. She was wondering where all the drugs, multivitamins she was taking were going. And then there was another woman at about 47, 48 then, who was not taking any of these things, but she was eating this catfish, because I asked her what was prominent in her diet that made her have this amount of vitamin E. She said she was eating catfish, but I'm not telling you to go start eating catfish because it doesn't have too much healthy fat for the heart like that. But I know it's a source of vitamin E too, because I said, it's a fatty fish. So all the fatty fish have some element of vitamin E, being a fat soluble. But when the test was done, she didn't have any need of vitamin E. She had enough. And so what did I get from that test several years ago was that most of the vitamins we take and multivitamins, they do not actually work the way we expect, like taking calcium supplement. I don't recommend it. It's going to create inflammation because it's not water soluble. It's going to cause pains. I have come across people who came to, somebody is asking question. I think it's Destiny Kenny is asking again. I chew a lot of raw bitter leaf just to fight off sugar. Is it advisable? Okay, I'll come to that question now. Chewing a lot of raw bitter leaf, it has its own negative side. It's not advisable, my dear. Let me not take your time. It's not advisable because it has some dangerous acids that is very, very, I don't know your age. I don't know your age. I mean the person that dropped this comment, but I can conveniently tell you that I have tasted bitter leaf for fat burning. It almost took my life. I mean, taking raw bitter leaf, because I was advised. But most people work on advice from inexperienced people. And it has claimed some lives, I may tell you, because somebody just told me that it was the fastest way to burn fat. Okay, so I'll be 40. Okay, it was about this age too. I was about this very age. So somebody told me that what I need to quickly burn fat was bitter leaf. And as a matter of fact, it happened to my own mom. She nearly lost her life too because of bitter leaf, trying to fight diabetes. But in my own case, I was trying to fight off fat, excess body fat. And what was it? I was told that it's very work fast, all the stuff that people normally tell us, and we just go and put it into practice. The person say, you just destroy the fat, and within days you are already slim. It was God that saved me that night when I took the raw bitter leaf. So I want to suggest, I did a lot of research and studies after that experience, and I found out that it has a lot of dangerous acids. And whenever I recommend bitter leaf for people, I say, please wash it the first time and throw the first water away so that part of the acid goes out. It can cause death instantly if you take it in large amount. In fact, most of the people I have encountered who had this ugly experience with bitter leaf, they eventually vomited it. They eventually vomited it. And the same thing happened in my own case, because if it's not our time, it's not our time. If the body sees it as an enemy, it's going to throw it out. And that was what happened in my own case when I began to, actually took it at night, hoping to, that by the next morning, I will have lost all the fat that I needed. But I woke up at an odd hour of the night feeling very strange. When you are feeling strange, you know that something very bad and terrible is about to happen to you, to your life. The message, your brain will communicate to you. So I was feeling very, very strange. I was worried and fearful. And after some time, I was struggling to take water. Eventually, I began to vomit it out. This same experience happened in about 2 cases of bitter leaf that I've had. Until that bitter leaf was vomited. That was what saved us, including myself. So after that experience, I don't advise people. You can lose fat in a healthy way. You can incorporate bitter leaf, which I'm still taking as a food. If you want to take it as a drink for whatever, take a little amount. But do not go to use it, to force your sugar to come down. You can take it occasionally to manage your blood sugar, include it in your diet, because bitter foods are great for your liver. But when the bitter foods are too much, like that of the bitter leaf, is going to also damage our organs. I say it almost killed me. Okay, look at you. I even okay, I don't know who is writing this. Okay, somebody else is commenting. Fika's diary said it almost killed me. I'm reading her comment now. He said, okay, no, he said, okay, this person, Destiny said, it almost killed me, the bitter leaf, because I chew about 8 leaves of it in the morning before eating. But some told me to reduce the way I chew. And so, my dear, I'm glad that you are even testifying and confirming what I'm telling you here, that it almost took my life. My own case, I washed it without throwing the water away and put it in a glass, as I was advised to do by, people who are not experienced, people who may not have tested it, people who may even be much younger, or I don't know their age, but age plays a lot of role. So when I was advised that it will throw out all the fat, because I was weighing like 120 kg then, after having my first child, weight gain was too much. So somebody said, no, you don't need to just get bitter leaf and it's going to do everything for you. So I washed and put in a glass cup. I was still breastfeeding then. I said I must lose this fat. I drank the bitter leaf in a glass as it full. Finished it. Almost finished it. Was middle. I almost finished it, remaining little. And I was now waiting that by the time I wake up in the morning, all the fat will have gone. Lo and behold, my enemy nearly died that night. Not me. And I wasn't the first person to report this. Somebody have reported the same to me. And after that, my own maternal mom also, it happened to her right down in the village. And so she said it was God that saved her that night because she eventually vomited the bitter leaf. So after that, I've been telling people, don't listen. You read this on the internet, mix bitter leaf and drink. Better find out who have drank it before and be sure that you're getting the right information, because that's where most people get it wrong. When you get the bitter leaf, and bitter leaf is high in fertility. It's a fertility booster. I mean, but because it's high in zinc, it's high in antioxidant. But then all of this good side, then when you overdo it, it's going to give you the ugly side. And so I think I've answered your question. Say you talk about there are foods that can reduce your blood sugar naturally, so many of them, but I'm not going to talk about it today. Say God bless you, ma'am. Thank you for that comment. So I'm not going to talk about the foods that helps to reduce your blood sugar today. That is not the subject for today. My today subject is insomnia, how to deal with it. I've only talked majorly on the causes. And while talking about the causes also, I mentioned some of the ways you can also deal with the cause. Because once you know the cause, like eating late, you stop eating late. If it's poor blood circulation, you include circulatory foods like cayenne pepper, ginger, turmeric tea, even mint, a lot of other circulatory foods you need to start to include in your diet. If it's incomplete amino acids, you've been avoiding egg, all the stuff, milk, return them a little to your diet and you see your sleep life will come back. And if it's your sleep, lack of sleep is caused by maybe you're eating too much of carbs, your sugar is always high at night, like sometimes it happens to me. I just noticed I'm awake and the next day I quickly go and say, it took me some time to know it was sugar that was doing this. I said, okay, let me check my sugar this morning. This being awake is unusual. And I tell you, he said, I think the best drug for insomnia is exercise. Yes, exercise is good, my dear. I've already mentioned it. But then, let me tell you something about exercise. He said, because it happened to me and I overcame it through exercise. Now, I want to also tell you something. Maybe you never heard this about exercise. One of the best remedy, like you said, is exercise. But you must exercise at the right time, in the morning. If you exercise after 4:30 p.m., you are going to experience adrenal fatigue. It's insomnia that you will experience. Go and try what I'm telling you. It has happened to me. There is always a time, the right time to do that thing. If you exercise in the morning, in the evening, you will sleep very well and your body will just be tired. But when you exercise vigorously after 4:30 or 5 p.m., you're going to be so tired to sleep. I mean, really, really tired. It took me also a long time to discover this thing I'm telling you. So, but this exercise is good though. I exercised today, I went out, did blah, blah. What time did I exercise? It took me a long time to realize this. So I began to restrict rigorous exercise to the morning times. Then another thing that also makes people not to sleep is absence of fat in the diet. Please, this one is very important. And it seems like it's going to be the last point I'm going to make here. Now, the brain makes use of fat. Now, for most older people, when we talk about healthy fats, What are the healthy fats? Cold pressed coconut oil, cold pressed olive oil, avocados, almond oil or almond nut, cashews, I mean, a lot of other nuts that you can get all the fats from. Even almond is also, sorry, walnuts or fatty fish. If you are going through insomnia, one thing I will also advise you to do, which has been working for me, is to start taking occasional fish oil supplementation. I'm talking about remedies now for the insomnia. That's where I am currently. Maybe I may have to cut it and continue it maybe tomorrow. So maybe next tomorrow or tomorrow, I will notify us. But I think I may not be able to conclude on the remedies. So one of the remedies that you should take, especially for in fact, not just menopausal women, all people, if you are experiencing insomnia, it may be that your brain needs fat, healthy fat. If there is no fat, you're not going to sleep. It took me also long to discover this one. So you start taking the fish oil supplement. Get a good fish oil. It's not expensive. Like 300 ml. You can start with 2. Take it in the morning because it's a fat-soluble vitamin so that it can permeate your brain very well before the evening. You will see how sweet your sleep will be that night. And then in absence of that fish oil, you can also take something like cashew nuts. It's very super because it's a brain food, it's a source of zinc, and it has healthy fats. So you should have the cashew nuts. The almond, you can soak some almonds in water and use it because it's a good source of magnesium and calcium. These are 2 critical minerals that you need for your sleep to be, very sound and sweet. And so fish oil is important. If you have not been taking it, it's one of the supplements also I take once in a while. In fact, I take it more frequently than the vitamin C because it's not easy to get all those fatty fish. And so you need to start including fish oil in your diet moderately. Fatty, healthy fats like cold pressed coconut oil, cold pressed olive oil, avocados, almond, all of them. Start including healthy fats in your diet. This is one of the things that can help you. I want to be rounding up now with this point. Maybe we can continue from here at other times. But I want to thank you all for coming. I want to appreciate you all for your attendance. And then hopefully I've talked about the main causes of the insomnia. And by the grace of God, I would like to talk about, okay, somebody said, okay, this Destiny Kenny said, I go out around 9 p.m. for a jog. Okay. Depending on how jog, I like your comment. Depending on the extent of the jog, where are you writing from, please? Destiny Kenny, can you just respond? Let me, before I round up. Where are you commenting from? Let me know where you are as you go out, because if you eat and you do not exercise a little too, it could also cause insomnia. But my point was rigorous exercising. When you eat, you take a little exercise. That one is known and understood. But when you do rigorous exercise, when I mean rigorous exercise, you know what I mean. The body becomes overtired to sleep. I'm not telling you what I read from a book. I'm telling you what I know happens to me. And it took me also time to discover this. Then I'm telling you. Very stressful exercise. And your own case, it could be, you can be getting away with it. You're just 40 years. Try it when you are 55 or 60. And let me know whether this experience is the same. It may not be the same. And that's why I said that we should continue to make changes. There are certain things you may be doing at 40, at 35, at 45. You may be getting away with them. But as the years approach, as you move on, as you get older, it gets to a point you can no longer get away, my love. You can no longer get away with them. Your body says, I can't continue this way. And that's exactly what I'm saying. And so where are you writing from, Destiny? Let me know. I want to see your response quickly. Let me hear your feedback on that. Where are you commenting from, Destiny Kenny? So that I know, the nature of the exercise. Maybe I can come and join you for the walk so that all of us can be flowing around 9 p.m. Because around here where we are, 9 p.m. is already late. Everybody is inside and locked up. So we'll not be having that easy go out to walk, easily going out to walk about, unless you are in an environment where all these things are there. You can walk around the house after your dinner, which is very, very recommended and is good because of your blood sugar. It helps you to sleep well. I don't suggest you eat and go to bed immediately. It's risky, it's dangerous. That's not what I'm saying. You must engage in little exercise, but don't let it be a rigorous exercise that will warn you out. That's wear you out. That's exactly what I mean. If it's one that will wear you out, you will sleep, my love. You won't sleep. You won't sleep. You just lie down and be so tired to sleep. Now, the effect is that you will sleep around 5 a.m. in the morning. That's what happens. You will sleep, but you won't sleep at the time others are sleeping. If you have engaged in that kind of exercising, it's when you have laid down after the body have rested. Then maybe around 4:30 or 4 o'clock, you start sleeping. It happened to me several times. I begin to wonder, say, why is it morning when others are waking up? Until I realized where the problem was. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's good to do exercise moderately, walk around, but don't do the stressful and excessive one that will bring in what we refer to as adrenaline fatigue, adrenal fatigue. You become too tired because of the time of the rigorous of exercising. And so, by the grace of God, I want to thank you once again for coming, and then for your comments, your participation. And I want to promise that I will be live again in a few days to round up on this subject of insomnia, because a lot of people are going through the challenge and it's something that affects our overall health. Remember that you need to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so that you'll be informed whenever I'm here. Thank you. And for me, for now, it's bye-bye.